But the difference between, an AI DJ or a live DJ, you cannot teach AI to see how that person's reacted to that one song that you play.
I will maybe have to disagree with that, but I wonder if there's a camera or two cameras or three cameras that are analyzing. We're talking about
the dance floor.
Yeah.
Imagine you see, this genre, and it identifies the people left the dance floor.
Yeah. Is that are like, 2-3 tracks, the floor is pumping. They put that track and it dies. He's too slow to transition, loses the crowd. This is where I'm thinking AI learning about possible combinations that don't work. Or
I haven't really put that much thought into how AI can change the DJ industry. Maybe I should. Maybe I can make a lot of money doing that.
But it's like I'm seeing more and more at the DJs, like the concerts, like the bigger productions, line arrays.
Yeah. That was one of the points I was
monitors,
thinking.
Yeah.
The monitors. These guys have
line arrays.
These guys
like line array in the booth, man.
Yeah, from 6 to 8 line array tops with 4 18-inch subs as monitors. We call them DJ headphones, but that's what they're using.
Ready? Boys, what's happening? I feel like we haven't...
That was a really good clap. I think that was your best one yet.
Yeah. I heard
getting better at this.
I heard that reverberation off the walls. It was fantastic.
Actually, I didn't hear any because of our incredible acoustic treatment that we did in this room.
Yeah, those are very generous words.
I feel like it's been a while, huh?
It has been a while.
It's been just us three.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ones were great. They were fun, but it's also different when it's just us three.
Yeah, just to catch up on certain things. And one topic I was really excited for is DJ trends and the culture. And I got a whole bunch of questions for both of you.
Yeah.
Especially you in terms of some stuff. Admittedly, my twin boys are like addicted to watching Tomorrowland all the years, and it's amazing. We watch Skrillex on a concert, we watch all kinds of stuff. But Tomorrowland is where I get really interested because you get to see a variety of DJs. The lighting is crazy, the music's good, but you get to see different setups, which got me thinking of this episode. And stay tuned because I'd like to tease on the 5 shifts that I've kind of noticed, and that we'll unpack in the episode. But
may I just start with something that really did it hard in my heart about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't know if you guys know a DJ called Fred again.
Yes.
Yeah. So he did his last tour in UK, in London. I don't remember what was the venue name, but he invited Thomas Bangalter, like the Daft Punk guy.
Holy crap.
And I have goosebumps. I'm not kidding. The set is online on YouTube. No ads for now.
Okay.
It's also on Apple Music. It was his last show for his tour called USB 002. I don't know where the name come from, but it was a set of Thomas Bangalter with Fred again, reinventing some Daft Punk classics.
Oh, wow.
Mixed with his music.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I know it's not related to tech, but it's related to heart. And it's been years. And I'm a big Daft Punk fan.
Me too.
Like huge fan.
Yeah.
It was completely refreshing. So you guys have to see that.
Definitely.
Especially the YouTube one.
Yeah.
Insane. Sorry, it was my...
I always liked Daft Punk, by the way. But because of my film background, I listen to soundtracks most of the time. And those guys for the Tron is one of my son's favorite soundtracks, and it was Daft Punk.
Yeah.
And you're seeing more and more of these artists like Nine Inch Nails with the new Tron, but the Daft Punk album for Tron was unbelievable, and it's nice to see those guys getting into that creative. And
by the way, obviously Thomas doesn't wear a mask anymore, so he did a cameo in one of Fred Again's set back in February or maybe January when he was in Paris. So he did just a small appearance without the mask. It was the first time since it was the first time Thomas Bangalter mixed without a mask. It was a while ago, and now for this second thing, they do basically a beat to beat, a back to back. It's really cool.
Wow.
How long is the set?
Close to 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have YouTube Premium, so hopefully I don't get any ads.
No, but there's no ad right now. I suspect that probably someone paid to not have ads,
Gotcha.
but it's worth the watch.
Wow.
Definitely.
Check it out.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
So excited. So let's kick it off. DJ booth. Not like it used to be, that's for sure.
No.
And I know we had this whole episode just on the CDJ 3000X, which just that is just a glimpse into how the DJ world is changing, streaming, but now we're talking about the DJ booth. So we're stepping back, looking at the big picture, and I feel like, DJ booth today didn't look like a DJ booth 10, 15, 20 years ago. How has that changed? What has changed?
I think it's important we establish which DJ booth we're talking about.
Yeah.
Are we talking about a live stage production DJ booth? Are we talking about a fixed installation in a club? Are we talking about a mobile DJ booth? Like, what do you want to focus on?
I would argue not the club. I don't think that's changed so much.
No.
But I would say both on the Caruso Entertainment, that type of space, and the concert. That I think that has changed quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like, even you're looking at concerts now, and it's just the console and a mixer, and that's it. Back then, it was a lot more gear. One thing I want to pick your brain on is, like, I'm seeing more and more at the DJs, like the concerts, like the bigger productions, line arrays.
Yeah. That was one of the points I was
monitors,
thinking.
you're
Yeah,
saying?
monitors. These guys have like
line arrays.
These guys
like
are
line array in
using-
the booth, man.
Yeah, from 6 to 8 line array tops with 4
sub.
18-inch subs as monitors. You know, we call them DJ headphones now, but that's what they're using.
Do you think that's because the main PA is getting so loud, or these guys are just getting like they're getting more?
There's two reasons.
Yeah.
One, because the main PAs become so loud.
Yeah.
That they're going to need some serious sound reinforcement in the booth. And two, a lot of these legendary DJs are losing their hearing, so they need something even more powerful behind the DJ booth. And that's just what's happening. But it's funny, we were talking about DJ headphones. That's what we call them, you know, the line array stacks on either side. Yeah. But you'll notice a lot more people now are actually using in-ear monitors.
Yes.
They're not using headphones. There's a bit of a trend and a culture of people not even using headphones whatsoever now because the amount of information available on the players in front of them. I mean, you can essentially beat match 2 track without even headphones.
Just
now.
with the waveform.
Yeah.
I disagree with it.
I disagree
with it. But I mean, that's, you know, if you know your routine and you already know your track list, then yes, you can pull that off. But if you're a free format DJ and you're playing in front of a crowd, I mean, you're listening to your tracks before and you're realizing when, you know, figuring out where your cue points are and when you're going to drop that track. But, those are just, I mean, some of the trends from some of the sound side. I mean, some crazy monitors out there on those stages. In terms of the actual DJ booth themselves, when we're talking live production, I'm gonna disagree with you. I'll actually say it's pretty similar. I mean, you still have your 2 to 4 players, your mixer. I'll say that on the effects side, we've reduced the amount of peripherals now that DJs will use on the effects side.
Most of them only have one small
They'll have
box.
one external effects.
Is this a Pioneer?
peripheral.
What's the main
I mean,
go-to?
For the longest time, it was the RMX 1000.
That's it, huh?
Now that's been replaced with the RMX Ignite, which does even more than the RMX 1000 did. What I will say is I think there's a big difference behind the DJ booth, meaning at the FOH location. So your audio is still coming from your DJ booth. Everyone knows the live performance is coming from the DJ booth, but there's so much syncing being done with video now, lighting, pyrotechnics, mapping. I mean, that's where there's the biggest difference. I mean, before you had your DJ playing on stage, you had your lighting show, and you were hoping that you had a really good lighting guy that knew some of your tracks, or that could, busk really well when it came to the lighting. But now with the amount of time code going on, the amount of visibility that the technical guys have at the FOH tent about what the next track is going to be, the amount of syncing. A lot of these guys now, actually, they just did this at Ultra, and most festivals will have this.
I was about to talk about Ultra. I'll talk about it later.
Some of these, or most of these festivals, I should say, but I know Ultra because I saw it online. They'll have a pre-production meeting or a pre-production tent where they'll have their Pioneer DJ set up. DJ will come in, play his set. Most of these sets, these guys are sticking to a set track list.
Shouldn't we say Alpha Theta?
Well, depending on the gear, Alpha Theta too, but it's true. They'll run through their set, and you have the lighting guy, you have the video guy, you have the pyrotechnics guy, and you have the FOH engineer going through the set with them to make sure that everyone's aligned.
Oh, nice.
And this is not even the actual set. This is beforehand, whether it be the day of or the day before, just running through everything to make sure that everyone's synced and everything's working properly. Right. So that's where I would say the biggest difference would be in terms of actual gear. Because like I said before, I mean, back in the days, you didn't have much live video. You didn't have LED panels.
No.
Pyrotechnics were at a minimum. Okay, you set your pyrotechnics at the end of the show. Now you've got pyrotechnics during the show. You have CO2. You have water. Water's becoming a big part of these stages now, believe it or not. Right? Water's become an effect that people are using a lot of.
They project on water vapes or something.
Yeah, so you can actually set up like a mist fountain and use that as a projection screen. So people are getting really creative, but with all these aspects, I mean, you better make sure that you guys are aligned, right? Yeah. So that's where I'm going to argue that that's where we've seen the biggest difference. But in terms of playing the actual audio, once you're on stage, I mean, you're playing to the crowd. So that hasn't really changed. The mechanics of playing, we spoke about it, streaming, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously at these festivals, they're not streaming from, major streaming platforms. They're playing off their USB stick.
Yeah, which is like custom.
Which is standard. Yeah, exactly.
But not only standard, but I watched a Deep Dish at Ultra Festival.
Yeah.
They were playing their tracks remixed by themselves. So nobody else has the track. So it's sitting on the USB, and that's their stick.
Exactly.
Talking about Ultra in Miami, it's probably something that exists for a while, but after the DJ set of Deep Dish, all the gear rolls on the side, and then another set of turntables gets.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's cool.
So because of the amount of artists now at all these festivals, the turnover between the acts needs to be blazing fast.
Yeah.
So oftentimes they'll have two sets on these rolling platforms on the actual DJ booth, and while one guy's playing, the other one's off to the side. They're making sure the configuration is all good, all set up properly. The DJ's able to see his mixer set up, whether it be the EQ curve or whatever it may be, auxes, whatever it may be, making sure that his effects routing is correct. That can all be done during or before the current set. And then the turnover happens. DJ's done his song. You don't even have to go eject the USB, wait for the next guy to come in anymore. Everything's already loaded, ready to go. Within a couple of minutes, you're ready to perform again, right?
Wow.
And that's just because of the demand of how many artists are at these festivals today. So it's cool.
Incredible.
Yeah, the mechanics have changed a little bit, but it's really the behind the scenes.
The booth has really become like a production hub. That's what I was trying to get at. Where it's, and even on the smaller scale stuff, like the production stuff that you're seeing at the smaller live events, like the local stuff, DJs for doing weddings and stuff like that. You're doing more lighting, you're doing more video, you're doing more.
So I'll argue and say that the mobile DJ booth has changed
dramatically,
completely.
Yeah.
From when I first started to now, it's a command center, right? That's what it is. Yeah. Whether you were doing small weddings by yourself, or you'd go in and you'd be the chosen DJ and you're working with a production company because of the, high-end wedding industry, and these guys are coming in with, 20, 40 movers, huge sound systems. A regular average wedding DJ will not supply that themselves.
Yeah.
your DJ booth has now become a true command center. So from a mobile standpoint, when I first started, you'd often have, you know, the lighting guy off to the side, which would be supplied by the wedding DJ company, you know, on a road case with the lighting controller taking care of the lighting. Cool, that made sense. The DJ was kind of the spotlight in the middle of the stage. They would do their thing, MC, entertain the crowd, and that worked. But as time progressed and technology got better, that DJ now is also doing his lighting at the same time. He's doing video because now there's lots of TVs and displays being used in the wedding DJ setups or the mobile DJ setups, no matter the type of event, whether it be corporate, whether it be weddings, whether it be, you know, family events.
Yeah.
All those components now are being controlled by that mobile DJ. And the cool part about it is that it's become a lot easier to do. Become a lot simpler. So now the DJ will often have, you know, the controller in front of him or her. Off to the right or the left, they'll have their small lighting console, which you're not manipulating every channel anymore, right? You've got a lot of presets. A lot of the controllers now are making it very easy to program. So you can be doing a track and you know exactly when the drop is coming, you know, one button and your lights are strobing. I'm using it as an example. But to have that available right next to you and you're not talking to the lighting guy behind you or next to you, that changes your performance, right? Everything from syncing even the video displays with your tracks and your VJing, right? Your video DJing. That's all at your fingertips now versus before you needed a lot more equipment. It was a lot more spread out. You might have had a person dedicated to that one role. Now that DJ is capable of doing everything themselves, which is pretty phenomenal. I mean, Pioneer DJ's got controllers that have a DMX out on it now, right? So now not only is it reading real-time music phrasing and applying it to DMXing, the controller is doing it itself, right? So it's definitely changed for sure. A lot more technical. You know, we were talking to someone on a previous podcast saying how technology is moving so quickly and you can't fall behind. It's the same thing with DJing now. You need to know a little bit about every single aspect of live production and not just beat matching or reading a crowd.
So lighting.
Yeah. And that's where, you know, as a mobile DJ, I think it could be your biggest weakness, right? If you're just saying, I know how to read a crowd, I know how to play music, great. But today it's all about experience, right? What are you bringing to that room? Does the equipment blend into the room? Does the lighting look good? Is it just a light on sound active mode? Yeah. Sure, that works for certain parties, but most of the days now, you know, DJs want to be programming the lighting to the room and to the crowd. So you have to know a little bit about everything in order to make a living now as a mobile DJ versus just coming in with your huge speakers and I've got the biggest, baddest sound system. It's not about that anymore. It's about, you know,
becoming a producer. So more of a producer standpoint and storyteller.
Storyteller and
entertainer.
You know, one skill that I was lucky enough that I came in I started, there was a big trend in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s of emceeing at private events. And I had to learn that skill to be able to get the weddings. So I was lucky enough to work with a lot of great MCs in the city. Luckily, you know, I spoke more than one language. So I was able to adapt and learn how to MC. To find an MC today, very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very difficult.
Wow.
So that's something that I think we're missing a little bit of. You know, and there's different styles of emceeing, just like, you know, there's different styles of comedians. But to be able to MC and motivate a crowd properly without being obnoxious or without making the show about you, that's kind of like, you know.
Is that a generational thing, you think?
I think it's a generational thing. I think it's a trend thing. I think the newer generation doesn't even know that that could be part of an event. But it's important. Yeah. It's really important. How do you guide the evening? People are looking at you. They're looking at the bride and groom too.
Yeah.
But you're the one guiding the entire flow of the event and making sure that people are doing what you want them to do. You know, and there's a lot more distractions at today's events. There's photo booths. There's the cell phones.
Yeah.
The bars that are located outside the room. That's the biggest threat to any party, right? So how do you, you know, yes, you can play good music.
Compete against a beer or a good glass of wine.
How do you convince people to, hey, come back from the photo booth or the bar. Now we're doing something. What are those tricks that you're using to get people back on the dance floor? You're using the power of the microphone, right? And that's something that you got to practice. And not a lot of people, I think, are practicing that. And that distinguishes a lot of people, those that can. There's some older mobile DJs, whether it be Montreal, Toronto, major cities, that are still working because they have that skill, right? So it's interesting to see where things are going from a mobile DJ standpoint. But just the equipment alone, people are a lot more aware of the equipment being used. And I hate to say it, but the way the equipment looks, right? So you're getting married, you book a beautiful hall, spending a ton of money on food, inviting guests over, everything that comes with the expenses of having a wedding. The next thing you know, you've got a DJ that shows up with a huge sound system because they're so proud of it, but you're covering half of the draping that they paid for. Now all of a sudden people are looking at the speakers and no longer the bride and groom or all the decor you spent money on. That's not necessarily what people want today.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people didn't know. There was no social media. There was no internet. So that was your bragging point. I have one of the best sound systems in the city, and I'm going to make sure your wedding sounds amazing. Cool. That's where the argument of people using line arrays in a 30 by 30 room, like, no, that doesn't make sense. But it was loud and it was powerful. People felt it. That was important. But now people or clients want equipment that'll do the job, but that also looks good.
Yeah.
Right? Because the expenses of everything else have also gone up. Like I said, the core, the room, priorities have shifted.
True.
And I speak to DJs all the time and they're like, yeah, it's crazy how many people ask me, what does your sound setup look like?
That still boggles my mind.
Give me a picture of your sound setup.
Yeah. I think I said it in a previous podcast, but I bring it up because it's true, right?
Yeah.
That's where column speakers are coming in now, because all of a sudden you don't have a big black box on a speaker pole next to the bride and groom. You can have a white column speaker that blends in flawlessly with the setup. Guess what? People are going to prioritize that over the sound of it. And it's just the reality of today. A part of me disagrees with it, right? But at the same time, it's the experience. That's what people are looking for.
That actually brings up my next point, which was how sound systems are changing. And it's sad that people are looking at the aesthetics, which I could assume. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but in system integration, that is always an issue as well. Yeah. But I didn't know that it was bleeding a lot into like those type of events. Do you think people? I think you kind of answered that question a little bit, but people are more aware of the equipment. And I think you answered it, but is it because of the sound quality? Do you think people are looking for the sound quality, or is it still the DJs that are telling them that there's going to be a better sound quality, or is it just something that is very passive? Like it's just the DJ upgrading his gear and the demand is really not there. It's really up to the DJ that's evolving.
There's two things here. Again, that depends on the type of event. At Ultra Festival, at Stereo Nightclub, at any type of after hour, like the sound system quality is going to matter a lot.
Yeah.
In a wedding, I think you agree with me, people don't really care. I would say anymore.
I don't think I don't know if care is the right word. I think they just don't know better. Mm-hmm. And I talk to a lot of people, and that's the point that I try to prove is, you think of the average person nowadays, when they listen to music, and we spoke about this on another podcast, barely anybody has a dedicated theater room. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Barely anybody has a dedicated listening setup, right? Whether it be vinyl, CD, their FLACs, their MP3s, whatever it is. People are happy listening to music off two little speakers.
Directly on the iPad.
Off a 1/4-inch display.
Not even. I mean, you could put the iPad in the corner of the room and listen to
that's
music.
what I'm saying. Like, from speakers that come out of a phone or a tablet, they're happy with that. You put that in a live event setting where there's people talking, there's music blasting. I think people don't understand that there is such thing as better audio quality out there. And I think the people that are successful are those that are able to tell that story while maintaining the look and the experience factor. right? I could tell you so many stories where I've done events personally and I've consulted with, whether it be a competitor or somebody else. And they're like, I don't know if that's enough sound. Like I would add another 4 subwoofers to that wedding. It's a big wedding. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Just from experience, and I've been in that room, I think we're okay with, call it 2 subwoofers instead of 4 as an example. And I show up to that wedding and people are complaining like, hey, can you turn down the bass? It's like, so imagine if I showed up with 4 subwoofers. People care more about, again, the experience. Is it dinner time and people can talk to the person next to them? Yeah. That makes more of an impact than the frequency of that subwoofer that's coming out and whether you can hear it, in front of the dance floor or on the side of it. No one cares if your subwoofer's in cardioid mode or not. People don't know. But they know how the sound impacts the overall experience. When you're at a wedding and someone's doing a speech and you can't hear it, what ends up happening? You start talking to the person next to you.
Yeah.
Then that multiplies by 10 tables, 20 tables. Now, all of a sudden, you have the father of the bride trying to give a speech. Everyone's talking. It looks disrespectful. It loses the impact of the actual speech. Yeah. Now, imagine if you had a DJ in there that had a proper sound system. Again, doesn't have to be the biggest, baddest sound system, but has a good set for the main dance floor and knows how to set up proper fills and delays in the room. And now everybody could hear that speech from the father of the bride.
Yeah.
And the room is quiet because everyone's listening. Everyone could hear it properly. And now all of a sudden that speech looks like an Academy Award winning speech because everyone's listening. There's that respect.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
True.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's little things that actually impact the experience versus having that crazy amount of sound. Now, this is where the technology comes in because back in the day, if you needed twice of the amount of equipment to set up those delays and you need, a lot more amps and whatever it may be, we're really going back in time now. But now it's just a matter of setting up an extra
powered speaker
with
a small delay directly on the mixer.
With a small delay on the mixer, even better on the speaker itself.
True. Oh yeah.
Or even just a column speaker. You put down the subwoofer. You have your highs, and you can control the volume from an app or set the delay on the app. Now you're improving the experience for everybody.
So now DSPs are really integrated in
DSPs are all
directly in the speakers.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that uses an external DSP.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And on the opposite side of the spectrum, I rarely do gigs. Like my last gig was probably 3-4 years ago to a cycling event. I was volunteering as the DJ, and I did borrow some equipment from SFM. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, when you're in a bike race and someone comes and tell you, hey man, your system sounds really good. Props to me, it means you did a good job.
Yeah.
If someone that doesn't have any record or is not a melomaniac, or he's not someone into music, but hey man, that system sounds really good.
Yeah,
you did a good job.
That is cool.
And it's about educating them too. Like the amount of times I've walked up to my bride and grooms and said, "Hey, do you notice how the room's not loud right now? It's dinner." They're like, yeah, everyone's telling us how it's the first wedding that we can actually speak to the person next to us. And it's really nice. And I can speak to someone without yelling and screaming. Those little things make a difference because then you're not tired. The fatigue effect of sound, that's another aspect that people don't understand the science of, right? Yeah. The auditory fatigue that does to someone, I mean, it could drain you, and then all of a sudden you're exhausted by 11:30. And you're like, I got to go home. I don't know why, but I'm feeling so tired, and I have a small headache.
Yeah.
But if you have a proper, well balanced audio system, and the bass is not moving your internal organs, and you're at a wedding, like that makes a big difference. You're gonna dance till 2 a.m. because it's comfortable. Yeah. So it's more about the effect of the sound that it has on the experience than the actual equipment being used.
But would you say the equipment helps by doing that?
Yes, no, for sure. The equipment does absolutely help doing that. And
wider dispersions, especially those column speakers, have much more wider dispersions. So you're covering a lot more than, let's say, back in a old QSC regular powered speaker where it's, and I think that's where when I was DJing, it was like, okay, no, we maybe have to put 4 or 6 just to make sure that we're covering the dispersion, and that's going back 25 years. But nowadays, like the line array, I was freaking out. Like it's
The line array, the columns, and even the
Some
power
of them you
speakers.
can even change the dispersion.
Yeah.
Some of the EAW stuff you can.
Yeah, on the line arrays, you're changing the dispersion now, which is just by physically
Flipping
changing
something on the actual
waveguide.
speaker.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
waveguide, exactly. That's the thing.
yeah, that's incredible.
But even like lighting, I mean, we used to bring around so much truss to all the events, and now it's all about being in there as quick as possible and getting out as quick as possible. So people are using less truss now. They're putting moving heads on, speaker stands with adapters.
Wow.
Instead of having a bunch of wash lights for the dance floor now, people are showing up with bars like we have here in the corners, right? So it's changed. The look is sleeker. It's smaller. A traditional speaker stand, I'm going to argue that more than half of the people using speakers now are not using your 3-foot traditional speaker tripod stand.
Square. They're using the square thing.
Exactly. They're using a square base with like an M10 pole on it, like
Okay.
you would use on a subwoofer.
Yeah.
And using that because it takes up less room. It's a lot easier on the eyes. It's a lot sleeker. And that's what people are doing.
Interesting.
So it's very, I would say there's like a minimalistic approach or trend going on,
Yeah.
which makes a difference, again, visually, but also from a production standpoint, the simplification of your command center, like we're talking about, also allows you to focus on your craft. And that's what I try to push a lot now is, we're talking about the equipment. I'm talking a lot here.
No, that's fine.
We're talking about the equipment and how good it is. And yes, that makes a huge difference. And certain brands are better than others for certain applications. But to not have to worry about equipment failures, amps overheating, moving heads with lodged motors or whatever it may be, if there's a lot less worrying about other things, then I can focus on my crowd and I can focus on what I'm playing.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Even the setup.
Talking about failing, I have an anecdote for you. Long time ago, I had a few gigs in a club called Le Salon d'Ahomey here on Saint Laurent Street. It's a house music club. And I remember at the time I was using a software from M Audio called Torque. From Synchro Science, which was bought, a German company bought by M Audio, and never failed on me once. Okay, and I remember I was doing the first part for another DJ in the.
Sorry, Hugo. What did that thing do? What did Torque do?
It's basically it was just like a tractor or record box. It was a digital DJ
Interface like virtual DJ and all that
Yes,
stuff.
it was a software to play your
Gotcha.
Wave or MP3 or
Sorry.
AIFF track. So yeah, you're right.
Cool.
I should give a little bit more context.
Basically allow you to play your digital files off your laptop.
Just like Record Box.
It's a sound card, basically.
Yeah,
It's
a
almost
sound
like
card, but it also came with the software.
Correct.
Okay.
And I remember the DJ that was after me kind of laughed at me because I was using a software that nobody used. It was not very known, but what I told him is it never crashed on me. So I'm not going to replace it until the driver exists for my computer.
Yeah.
And the guy who was using Tractor, it was probably version 1.7 at the time, like it was in one of the early version of Tractor. And he laughed at me because I was using not an industry standard software, but he had a few crashes during his set.
You see? My gosh.
And don't get me wrong, I've used Tractor after because my software came to an end, like
Obsolete,
it was obsolete. Yeah. After that, like after version 2 of Tractor software, it never crashed on me. But it was just funny that the guy told me, why are you using this? And I told him, because it never crashed on me. And during his set, he had 2 or 3 crashes.
Wow.
So as Franco said, when you don't have to think about, like, is it going to crash? Am I going to have problems? And you can basically concentrate on what you do best, which is your craft.
Yeah.
Things get easier and you get more smiles on the dance floor.
That's true.
More happiness. Everybody's happy. So yeah.
That's very true. I think that's one big positive about the evolution of technology is not just to evolve, but more to how to further enhance the experience, and that's by focusing on the craft and letting all the stuff being automated by either DSPs in the background or the equipment doing its thing, running down like room correction, like you were saying before, like both of you guys were saying. I think that that's a huge
and like even something as simple as microphones. I remember back in the day, I never went to school for this. I didn't know how to scan for a proper frequency on a microphone. And I bet you there's a lot of people listening that don't know that when you scan for a microphone, you actually have to have your other microphone receivers on, because then that takes up a channel, right? So it's reading saying, hey, these channels are all taken. Yeah. How do I scan properly and find an empty slot? A lot of people don't know that. So they would turn on one microphone, scan, and turn off, go to the next microphone, scan. That's not how to properly scan for a microphone. But now with the technology, the systems literally do it for you. Like I have a SLXD system, and
from Shure.
Shout out to Shure. And both of my receivers are connected with a Cat5 cable. When I initialize my system on one, so I scan for a frequency, it'll ask me after it initially scans for the first one, hey, I know there's another receiver connected. Do you want me to scan that one too, since we're doing it together? Absolutely. So from a single button press, I'm scanning two microphone systems, and I can tell you, knock on wood, I haven't had a single issue with that system. Wow. So it's just like it's just become, I don't want to use the word easier, because there's different skills needed today than you needed 10 years ago.
Like networking.
I never had a Cat5 cable in my DJ booth before. It's crazy. Now I do, so it's just changing. And I think it's for the better. And there's still people that haven't adopted, just like every other technology shift. But once people realize, hey, I could actually focus on my craft and not worry about microphone interference and all that. Hey, let's use it to our experience, or to our benefit, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot more bedroom DJs.
Yep.
Getting out of the bedroom and now touring and stuff like that, because with the whole advent of YouTube and Twitch, streaming, and I know a few DJs in this company that are on Twitch and DJ. That too is becoming a lot more relevant and prevalent. And
I just mentioned earlier in the podcast, Fred again was a bedroom DJ that became famous because of his boiler room. So, it's exactly like that. You now have superstars that came out of their bedroom because of the advent of
small controllers.
All in one. Sorry, what's the name again?
Like a small controller?
Yeah, controller. Yeah,
like a DJ
controllers. Yeah.
Flex 4 or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Flex 2. Now, and that's one big proponent of it, I have to say, is back in the day when you wanted to get into DJing, there was
two turntables, an amplifier, speakers,
and don't forget the whole music acquisition part, right? So you're buying the music, you have to go find it, again, going back decades, whether it be vinyl, CDs, whatever. But even if it was, downloading your music, whether you're paying for it or not, you still have to sit down and prepare the music and all that.
Yes.
Nowadays, you can go and buy a controller at $400 and you're DJing. You already have a Spotify.
You're DJing off your Spotify.
Yeah, you're DJing off your Spotify.
Or Apple Music or Beatport streaming platform.
$400 now.
Yeah.
And you're able to DJ. Like, that's amazing. I wish I had that back in my day. And that's just creating such a movement that there's so many people getting. I get phone calls all the time because people know I'm in the industry. And they're like, Franco, my son or daughter wants to get into DJing. What's the best thing to do? And I used to always say, okay, well, look, before you spend a couple $1,000s, maybe go to a friend, or they can come over, see the equipment, see if they actually like DJing. But now it's like, hey, guys, you can go buy one for $400, or even better, you can download an app on your iPad and just start to understand what DJing is. So that barrier of entry is a lot lower now because of the cost. I'm going to say something controversial. It's good for the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's also
time to rant.
decreased the amount, it's lower the quality of DJs too.
So I was just going to ask you. I was
gonna
going
say
to ask you that because in film, the barrier of entry has definitely lowered. And one comment Quentin Tarantino had said was, the amount of garbage that's on the market right now is insane. So I was going to ask you the same thing. Like, have you seen a wave of garbage?
Yes.
Yes. And I think, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I think you could say that about any trade. Like, I mean, you look at, I'm trying to think of a good example, renovations. Like back in the day, to be a contractor, you had to invest in the tools. You had to know who your suppliers were. You can walk to Home Depot now, spend $500 on tools, battery powered tools, and you can do a whole, renovation project yourself if you really wanted to. So yes, you're going to have good contractors and you're going to have bad contractors. It's the same thing. It's just, it's the ease of acquiring the tools that have gotten a lot easier. So it's normal that you're going to get a higher volume of people. And just like anything else, the more people you add to your sample, the less quality you're going to get, because there's that many people competing and trying to fight for the same thing.
They call that democratization. In French, not in English.
That's
but I think it's amazing for the industry. I think it's amazing for the market. We have traditional musical instrument stores that would have never even touched a DJ controller or piece of pro audio gear that are now calling us saying, hey, I've got a lot more people walking into my store. Yeah, I've got the people that want to buy an acoustic guitar. That's fine. It's my bread and butter. But there's a lot more people asking me, hey, do you have a DJ controller, or do you have, whatever it may be? And that's what's really cool, is that it's changing. And people now, when they want to start learning an instrument, it's no longer clarinet, piano, drums, guitar. It's all those instruments plus DJing. Mm-hmm. And that's what's become really cool. We work with a cool program in Ontario called Math Through Music. I don't know if I mentioned it before on the podcast. Joseph Karji, who's become a good friend of mine now too, he actually teaches math through music. So through DJing, he comes with 15, 20 controllers out of school, and during lunchtime, he's teaching them about percentages and numbers all through DJing.
Wow.
Which is amazing,
This is cool.
right? So it's like, it's really cool to see how DJing has become part of main culture now, because it's a lot easier to enter. But
I guess it's a dual edged
great for
sword.
the industry.
I think it's a dual edged sword.
Anything else, but I think
It's great for sales, but
yeah.
and it's great for, I guess, discovering new artists that may have never known that they had that talent because of that barrier entry. But at the same time, you also get all the.
And I think one thing that people don't talk about often enough, and this is my take, I don't know if it's true or not.
Is it controversial?
No, this is not.
Okay.
You like my controversial topics, eh? I think it's great for the music industry from an artist standpoint, because it's become so easy to consume music nowadays that you don't play a vinyl from song 1 to 10 anymore and just let it play. We have no more patience for listening to full albums or for even different artists, different songs, because it's all being thrown at us so quickly. Versus when you're DJing, you're consciously thinking about what song you're going to play and how that's going to impact, whether it be yourself, you're DJing for yourself in your bedroom, or for the crowd. So I think it creates that attachment to the artist or to the music, which I think we've lost a little bit. And I think that's what's so cool about DJing, is that you have someone actively thinking about what song they're going to play and which artist they're going to choose to control, your dancing, which is so cool.
So you're saying that DJs help music discoverability?
I think so.
Yeah.
It goes back to, the original days of an artist that would come out with a track or an album. They'd go to every radio station.
Vinyl.
Yeah.
They'd go to every radio station. Please play my vinyl. Please play my album. Please play my track, because that was the only way to discover it. Well, now there's a lot of that happening because you've got all the major streaming platforms just pushing music like there's no tomorrow. But DJing allows you to filter and choose that exact track and album. Curate.
Yeah.
So that curation is still really important. And I think that's why vinyl's making a huge comeback, because there's that that curation that's involved, whether it be buying the vinyl, actually like, okay, I'm going to spend $40 on this vinyl and I'm going to listen to every track because I spent a lot of money on it, to actually playing it and just everyone needs to relax. Let's listen to the track or the album and understand the intention behind it. I don't know. It's a little philosophical.
No, I agree. And
but
I have to agree. I have to agree. And I actually appreciate DJs that actually sample older stuff, like older music.
Yeah.
And that gets a lot of people are like, oh my God, what was the original song? And then they get onto who sampled it. And then I think that's really cool. And I love artists that do that. Honestly, it's amazing, especially for the newer generation. Yeah, especially for the new.
Yeah, there's like a trend of like you have to only play mainstream, most playing on the radio, because that's all people knew. But now that we're in this era of wow, there's so much music, I don't even know what I like anymore. Next time you speak to someone, ask them what their favorite genre or artist or music is today. I'm telling you, they're gonna have a hard time answering.
True.
Because there's so much of it. There's so much of it being thrown at them that now we've come out of this wave of you got to play play mainstream because that's the only thing people knew, to now there's so much of it. I don't even know what I like myself. So now the DJs that are able to pick those unique tracks and bring something different, or those remixes.
Genre. I mean, they could play like stuff from different eras.
Play a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Those are DJs that are successful. Yeah. And that's why you're going to get a lot of, we're talking about trends in the DJ booth too. There's a lot more live production happening now because, again, I have to be careful with my words. Not because DJing's become easier. The equipment has simplified it. But now the DJs who are often producers now, right? To DJ on a main stage, you're producing the music. You're actually making the music. People think you're just DJing. No, that's not true. You're actually making the music. Yeah. So now because, the whole act of beat matching and playing two songs has become simpler, the DJs are saying, okay, how do I make my performance different than the next guy? They're doing some of that live production on stage. Yeah. Whether it be, Fred Again, Disclosure. There's so many guys doing live production, doing remixes of their original tracks. Yeah. Because again, people are tired of hearing the same track over and over again. Doing the remixes, doing the live production, bringing something different to the table. That's what's differentiating them.
Especially if you're a fan of that artist and you love that song, and then you get to the event and then they're
remix.
Yeah. Oh my God, people
crazy.
lose their mind.
They lose it.
Yeah, because now they feel like it's a one-off experience, right? The guy's not going to
won't find that on YouTube, or I mean, I had to be there.
You heard something that someone else will never hear.
Actually, that's not true. I actually like Skrillex, and I was listening to one of his concerts with my kids, and a lot of the remixes that he was doing couldn't find it anywhere. I was like. I was like,
exactly what I told you.
You can't find it anywhere, and it's like, okay, well, I want to buy that, and I would pay money.
Tough luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't find it, and that's what we call an ID in the DJ world. Yes. Something that you don't know what it is. You've never heard it before. It's different. It's not part of an album.
When you look at the track list, sometimes you see ID 4, ID 6. Yeah. Those are
unidentified
unique, tracks. Yeah.
Unidentified tracks that make the experience that much better. Yeah. So I could talk about this all day long. I love the questions, but I know we're getting at
we're top of the hour. Really quick. Where's this all heading? Like in the next 18, 24 months, is AI gonna come and swipe all this out? Or I know AI is the big buzzword, and every podcast we do now, it's popping up, and for good reason. But no, 18, 24 months, long term. What are you guys seeing? What have you guys heard?
I haven't seen that much AI, to be honest with you. I mean, on the software side, for sure, it's going to start popping up. Whether it be showing you which tracks are in, same key or tempo, or even probably start to make you perfect set lists because of the ability to sort through thousands of songs by genre, BPM, key. There's an organization factor that AI is so powerful for. Yeah. That I think we'll see. But the difference between, an AI DJ or a live DJ, you cannot teach AI to see how that person's reacted to that one song that you
I
play.
will maybe have to disagree with that, but
Okay, facial recognition.
we had
camera, we'll see what happens.
You know what I mean? Like having a camera.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of that because you're talking, and I'm just thinking of everything you're saying, and I'm like, I wonder if there's a camera or 2 cameras or 3 cameras that are analyzing. You know, we're talking
Facing
about
the dance
D10.
floor.
Yeah,
Imagine you see, okay, this genre, and it identifies that people left the dance floor.
yeah. Look at D10,
Yeah.
like D10, like
just
they're
like
saying.
that. Yeah.
It could be. It could
D10
be.
were analyzing people in the and coming up with a report saying he wasn't really, you know, like he wasn't
He wasn't engaged,
he
or
wasn't
he wasn't
engaged
dancing.
or after the president said that statement he wasn't really happy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that can possibly come in
It could, but
it could.
It's not going to replace
It could.
but I'm saying, like, you know, like you have those DJs, and I'm not, most DJs are really good, but you have some DJs that are like, okay, 2-3 tracks, the floor is pumping, they put that track and it dies. He's too slow to transition, loses the crowd. This is where I'm thinking AI learning about possible combinations that don't work, or I don't know. I mean,
it's a great brainstorm for sure. I mean, I haven't really put that much thought into how AI can change the DJ industry. Maybe I should. Maybe I can make a lot of money doing that. But, no, I think anything is possible. But I think, like I was saying, there's still that unique connection that a DJ has with a dance floor. Maybe I'm just old school and naive, but there's nothing that replicates a feeling of you're dancing and you're looking at the DJ. DJ makes eye contact with you and knows, like, okay, that's
This
my
guy is-
superstar on the dance floor. I got to make this guy happy because there's 30 people dancing with him or her. Let's keep it going. You know, like there's that connection to the booth or that room or experience that AI I don't think will have. But now my mind is going, you're right. The facial recognition, body count on the dance floor. Does it know when you play disco? All of a sudden, body count went down to 4. You know, like, it could be. But that could be really cool. Yeah,
I think we've seen that in a couple of softwares already, like a digital DJ software. But I think that the stems are getting, like, instead of isolating with a regular EQ, isolating based on stems, like just cutting all the drums and all the voices and all the bass. Like,
so much easier.
You'll see more of this, I think.
I think we're seeing more on the production side.
Yep.
You know, like a lot with the effects and the actual production using AI, isolation, to your point, whether it be vocal isolation or specific instrument isolation. There's a lot of AI that's being put into that. But the live aspect, I think we're still a couple years away.
Yeah.
Chance, it was a pleasure talking to you about this stuff.
It was amazing, guys. Thank you so much for letting me pick your brains. And hopefully some people learn something. So don't forget, like, subscribe. And write us a comment in the comments below if you have any questions or want to see something else.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next one, guys.
Enjoy.
I'll be your love, I'll be your sunshine, I'll be your love, I'll be your sunshine.